Tonight's talk. Johannes, I'm very happy to see you because unfortunately in the chess world, nothing has happened again and we don't know what to talk about. Or do we? Well, of course, if you haven't lived under a chess rock or a chess piece, in this case, we all know what we will talk about in a few moments. But before anything else, let us start with a little quiz position. I will show it to you right now. This is a position you at home have to guess where is this position from. I give you 2 hints because otherwise you would have no single clue. But if I give you the hints, you might probably know. Johannes, first of all, any idea?
Not really, I have to say. But I suppose it's white to move, isn't it?
It's white to move, and here's the 2 hints. First, the hint is it was 25 years ago, almost on the day, but maybe not exactly on the day, but it was 25 years ago.
So this is 1999.
1998 to be precise.
1998, okay.
And the second hint, and this is where people might get it, it's supposedly a mate in 8.
Oh, now I know what it is. Now I know what it is. This is
no. We will solve this at the end of this show. Yeah. But perfect, very good, Johannes. I'm pretty sure you know
what it is. Now I know what it is.
So,
if you tell me mate in 8, I know exactly what's going on.
So maybe the same happened to you at home, especially, and maybe this is the third and last hint, especially if you are in the area of Germany. Okay, that's enough now.
Yeah, this was a big issue in German chess, and
yes. All right,
and it was one of the first cases of an issue that still occupies, or still the chess world has to.
The chess world is haunted by it.
Yeah, and struggles with it. Yeah.
Now let us talk about the World Chess Championship in Rapid and Blitz, and especially about a young guy called Magnus Carlsen. For those who don't know, Johannes, please, can you sum it up a little? Because I'm sure you know it a little better than me even.
I'm not sure, but so that everyone is on the same page. When during your introduction, Arne, I thought that we should maybe not talk about chess, but talk about manners. And at the World Rapid and Blitz Championship, there was a big debate about manners, or to be more specific, about the dress code. Magnus Carlsen, the world number 1 in classical chess, in Blitz chess, and in rapid chess, had a disastrous day 1 for him. He scored 2.5 out of 5, playing not very well. And after the 8th round, the arbiter came to him, addressed him, and said that Carlsen was wearing jeans and was violating the dress code. And he was given a fine of $200 and was asked to change the jeans into something more appropriate, and to do that before the 9th and the last round of the day. Carlsen refused to oblige, and then the arbiter said in that case he would be defaulted, he would not be paired for round 9 and would be defaulted. And then Carlsen said this was a matter of principle. He did not want to oblige, he did not want to lose his focus during the round, and he refused to change his trouser, to change his jeans, and he decided to leave the tournament. And he also said some harsh words about FIDE, which most people know what he said. I don't want to repeat it here.
I love this. I was so highly entertained about curse words. It's beautiful. Yeah. It came from the heart.
Talking about manners again.
Yeah.
And true. Carlsen also said that he would not play in the Blitz tournament, although he's the defending champion. He's also the defending champion. Was the defending champion in Rapid, and he is the defending champion in Blitz chess. But he said he wouldn't.
Yeah.
But yesterday, around 8 o'clock, there was a big turnaround. There was an interview with Levi Rossman for Take, the app Carlsen is involved with. And in that interview, Carlsen said that he would take part in the Blitz. And he gave the reasons why he decided to drop out of the Rapid and what made him change his opinion and play the Blitz again. But maybe you know more about this, Arne.
Not much more than you. I think we all read, heard, and listened to what was evolving around all of this, and we can all give our own opinions on what really happened, because of course there was a lot of things happening behind the scenes. The general question is, was this actually a matter of genes or not? Or was there some other stuff behind the scenes which mattered even more? And Carlsen mentioned it, Emil Sotovsky mentioned it, and Hikaru Nakamura also mentioned it. There is another maybe tense situation between FIDE and freestyle chess. Jan-Henrik Büttner, who was the initiator of the freestyle championship, started last year in Weissenhaus. It's north of Germany, and some of the best players, if not like the top 10 or the elite of the chess players, were playing against each other in the Bobby Fischer chess, random chess, 960 chess, however you want to call it. And it was a success. It was fun, entertaining. People like this style of chess. And next year it's going to happen that the Freestyle World Championship will be not only in Germany but in many different countries, and I think at least 5, if I'm correct. Not sure. Don't be too precise on that for now. Now, what might be the problem is, as I said, all of them mentioned that it is called the World Championship, the Freestyle World Championship.
Yeah, and as far as I know, you just cannot organize a tournament and call it the World Championship.
At least FIDE believes that is the case for sure.
Yeah. So if I invent a kind of chess like 3-person Backhouse, and say I organize a 3-person Backhouse or whatever, a team Backhouse, and this is the team World Championship in Backhouse, I have to ask permission from
the Backhouse World Association.
But just, let me get a little, let me get a little sidetracked.
Sure.
How many world championships do you think there are?
Like in chess or?
In chess, of course, all in all.
How many world championships? I would have thought perhaps 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But according to the Schachkalender, the pocket chess, which comes out, which is edited by Stefan Löffler, there are more than 150 world championships. Yeah, it's a number.
I'm sorry.
Of course, yeah, if you have all the junior tournaments and and all the
U18, U16, U14, male, female.
Girls, boys,
wow.
and so on. So it's a very high number.
But that is absolutely insane. Wow.
That's
okay, I want a list of that. All right.
Anyway, FIDE claims that it has the rights to award the title or to say what is the World Championship and not. And so they clash with the freestyle group.
Yeah, and that might, of course, be another part of this whole story, that this genes thing was obviously an initiator, but there was some background rumbling and which fired it up even more. But let's get back to the genes stuff, and then we can talk about the other things. Let me first ask you, what is your personal opinion about a general dress code?
Oh. Well, that's a tricky question.
I know.
As you might guess by observing
we're hoodies. We're wearing hoodies. So I think that's totally appropriate for our show.
Yeah, I prefer my dress or my attire to be casual, and so. But Having said that, I think the World Championship or the Blitz Rapid World Championship is an official event, and of course there is the wish by organizers that people dress appropriately, and I think this is fully understandable. And well, unfortunately, if you visited some chess events, whether these are just club tournaments, club meetings, club matches, or an open tournament, you can always see that the dress that, some people do not really have a sense of dressing properly. And I think insofar the dress code is useful. But on the other hand, I also think one should not be too strict. And I think one should not mind that someone wears a jeans, and if this is a proper jeans, maybe, a fashionable jeans, well, why not? I think in general, one should be lenient. And I also think in this case, in this particular case, I was wondering about the bitterness or that both sides were suddenly so very hard, and there was such a conflict. I mean, why, Magnus Carlsen wears the jeans, and this leads that the whole world just talks about this jeans and not about the tournament. And suddenly there seems to be a confrontation and no willingness to reach a compromise.
Indeed. There's another little anecdote which was occurring because of the jeans. So, for example, Nepomniachtchi was another person who got fined because he was wearing the wrong pair of shoes, or like not an appropriate. And there's, of course, the FIDE guidelines.
Wasn't it a sweater? Some kind of sweater?
Maybe it was a sweater. I cannot. Maybe I'm mixing stuff up. But it was something else. Yeah, it was a sweater. You think you're right.
Carlsen was not the only one, and I think Nepomniachtchi and Giri, I think it was Giri, they were asked to change, and they did that.
And a young underage girl was also wearing a jeans. Was reminded, I'm sorry, but there's no jeans allowed. But her hotel wasn't like 3-4 minutes away. It was actually a bit further away. So she didn't really have the chance, or would have had a big amount of stress to get to the hotel and switch her clothes. So instead, she decided to take off the jeans and use a scarf as kind of a skirt. And that was also a thing which was like, people were wondering what is going on here. So the question for me is also like, all right, so a scarf around the legs is working, but not a jeans. That is...
Let me get this straight. The arbiter asked her to forfeit the round or to change the jeans.
I think she was also fined, yes. Yeah, but that's I'm not 100% sure. I also know only the stories from third parties.
And then she took the scarf and used it as a skirt. Yeah. So this was okay.
Yeah, exactly. This is the funniest part, that this was like, oh, well, that's fair. That's very good. Well done for choosing this nice, appropriate scarf for your legs. Should have Carlsen done the same? Take a scarf.
Yeah, or should have borrowed a scarf from someone. No, for me, this is
the sweater from Nepomniachtchi.
I didn't know the story. But for me, this is an example about the unflexibility of the arbiter. You have certain rules, and these rules, it's good to have them, but also you can, the word diplomatic, but could also argue that Carlsen could have been a bit more diplomatic and say, okay, so what? I will change, But on the other hand, it's just like, you play a tournament and you want to focus, and you do not want to leave the tournament hall, and you do not want to be distracted, and you want to focus on your next round. And then someone comes up to you and says, well, change your jeans.
Yeah.
Why should you do that?
Problem is, and this leads me to one of my favorite examples. I tell it so many times, and I'm almost certain I've already told you about it. So there is the quite famous story that in the 70s or 80s, and maybe even now, I don't know, I haven't been to a McDonald's in more than 15 years. There was the following rule that if you buy a Big Mac and a Coca-Cola or a milkshake, and you eat half of the Big Mac and drink half of the milkshake, and then you take the Big Mac and put it into the milkshake. Then you go back to the cashier and say, there's a Big Mac in my milkshake. I want 2 new. I want another milkshake and a Big Mac. And what do you get? You get another milkshake and another Big Mac. This follows perfectly well into the story, which is absolutely 100% up to date, which happened to me not even 2 days ago. So I'm ordering a big bucket of peanut butter. Now, this peanut butter which arrived at my place was unfortunately broken. So it was like oily all over the lid, and there was like a clear cut in the lid. So I took pictures and wrote down everything. And then I went to the Amazon help. And what I was talking with was not an Amazon help, but it was an AI bot. And
Really?
the AI bot said, is it about this article? Yes. What is the problem? It was defect. Okay, do you want a refund or do you want to have sent a new product? And I was almost tempting to ask, don't you want to see pictures? And I said, I would like to have the new article again. All right, it will arrive on Tuesday. That's tomorrow. So what I want to get to from all of those anecdotes and what I want to talk about, and this leads right into the arbiter decision. For a lot of companies, for a lot of events, for a lot of situations where it is required that people have to think for themselves, it is often more complicated and more expensive for the company if they do so, because their own personal decision might lead to more difficult outcomes. This means if an arbiter gets trained, this is the document, you're only allowed to wear those things. If any player, and if it may be Magnus Carlsen himself or an underage girl from a different country, it doesn't matter. You have to find them and you have to tell them they have to wear the appropriate things. Is that clear? No exception. Then the arbiter has little space to decide on their own and give a little bit like, all right, it's fine. Don't worry about it too much. And from all of this, what I was saying about, I don't blame anybody that these decisions are being made because it is easier. It might cost a bit more money, but it is less complicated. And this less complicated stuff is which also leads to this big problem after all. Was I talking too much? Does that make sense? I guess so, right?
I hope it does. No, but in general, I think it's just, you can ask, what's the role of the arbiter in a tournament? And one could argue that an arbiter is there to take care or to supervise that the rules are followed.
Yeah.
But one could also argue that an arbiter is there to to ensure that the tournament runs seamlessly and smoothly, And in this case, the arbiter in question stick to the rules, which is fine if he sees that as his task. But the tournament did not go smoothly, and the tournament did not go seamlessly.
So what should have happened? That they should have taken the big probability to give Magnus a pass, and also the girl, with the possibility that there may be 3 or 4 players. There are a couple of hundred, and 3 or 4 players are like, excuse me, please, but I bought this new trousers for this event. I came here to this event for 3,000 euro. Traveling back will cost me a lot too. The hotel was very expensive. Is Magnus wearing a jeans? Isn't this something which is not allowed? Can you please tell me what is happening here? And now we have problems again.
Yeah. Well, but I think on a more general, philosophical, if that's the word level, I think a lot of problems can be avoided with a little bit of, generosity and kindness and more understanding towards each other. It may sound naive to say you should try to understand the other side, or be kind. If you just see, someone is violating the rules,
100%, yes.
There's Magnus Carlsen again doing what he wants. He doesn't care about rules at all. Everyone else has to follow the rules, but he just ignores them.
So then this is the last thing, and then I shut up. What if somebody would have asked the arbiter should have then taken the responsibility to, as you said already, give this a smooth outcome, and would have mentioned, yes, we are very well aware that this is happening. He also got fined. He will change his clothes one day later because right now he's in the tournament flow, and please have understanding that this is possible. And then either the person understands it or not.
Yeah, and again, I mean, if Carlsen then on the next day wears his jeans again, this would be provocation, Yeah. And ironically enough, he now makes a statement, and he said he will play the Blitz tournament with his jeans on. I mean, come on, come on. It's the very opposite of what people claimed they want to reach,
Wait, I'm sorry. He said he's playing with his jeans on?
Yeah, he said he will play the Blitz tournament in jeans, and Dvorkovich himself issued a press release by FIDE, which is lowering the standards for the Blitz tournament. He basically said that people should dress appropriately for the occasion, and he hopes that it's festive, it's New Year, and no one will just abuse the leniency and the laid back attitude. So maybe something good comes out.
Oh my God! Okay, this is actually news to me, Johannes. No, this is really funny. I cannot believe it. So one could perhaps almost say, I guess Magnus won.
Well,
in this case,
I don't think so.
Because he can wear his jeans now, and everybody has to more or less can wear be a bit more leisure. Is that?
Yeah, but I mean, this is also something. I mean, I don't think he won because there was this big uproar. His reputation is a bit damaged, and again, his reputation of being spoiled and misbehaving is also getting. People tend to believe that, and also it's just like having to drop out of a tournament in which you had hopes or still could have had hopes to finish first is never pleasant.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you completely that, the reputation got a bit damaged. It started a couple of years ago. Of course, there was another incident, and that was it's either you're with him or you're against him. And I still don't know. I think the majority was with him. But I'm talking about the Hans Niemann case, of course.
Oh, yeah, the Hans Niemann case.
But that was, of course, also an interesting decision by Magnus to go I'm out of this tournament. I'm leaving now. So, yeah.
Yeah, and again, I mean, this is also something that one could argue that Carlsen has the standing to fight for the rights of players and to do something that no other player dares to do because they are in a vulnerable position. So, but again, I mean, I don't know what will happen, but as you mentioned, there might be this rift between the supporters of freestyle chess and FIDE. And if things go really bad, there might be another rift in the chess world. That is that FIDE insists on giving away the world, just having the right to say what is the world championship and what not. And if freestyle chess insists on saying this is the world championship in freestyle chess, there might be a rift, and Magnus Carlsen might split completely from FIDE. And then again, we have a split in the chess world, which we had, in the middle of the 90s.
Yes, and not only him, because there's just one more chess player who's similarly prominent, I would say, and that's Hikaru Nakamura. And he also made the statement that if it comes to getting really dirty, he knows which decision he will take, obviously.
Yeah.
And let me say something which is I made this term, but I think it's a little bit of this Elon Musk syndrome. So because sometimes in at least one or two of the interviews that Elon Musk has, he got questioned like, wait, what happens if some people are against what you're saying? Or what happens if people are trying to sue you? And Elon Musk very easily was like in disbelief. He was saying like, well, F them. I don't care. I don't care at all. Who cares, right? And it seems to me that Magnus and Hikaru both would not need chess anymore to, I mean, according to Google, Carlsen is basically a billionaire by now. So he's also a businessman. 700,000, 700 million. That's the number which is flowing around. And I also believe that Hikaru, I mean, he said it himself in his interview on his own channel that he says like, some years ago, he started the streaming business. He doesn't need anything anymore. He has his streaming stuff and that is going on. And Magnus has so many other things. He even stopped playing for the World Chess Championship. So basically what Hikaru and Magnus say like, I don't care. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's really, I'm fine. I'm fine with whatever happens. Don't worry. It's like you have to fight for me if you want something.
Well, my parents and other people who I trust told me that money is not everything.
That's
and as far as tolerance, kindness, understanding, and making compromises, I would not turn to Elon Musk to get any advice. And also, it's just like, I think that Carlsen and Nakamura, first of all, like to play chess. And no matter the money they make from this, or whether they have 100 million, 700 million, or only 7 million, or even less, or even more, I think they like to play chess.
Yeah, but that might be fine. Yeah, they can still play chess.
Yeah, but it would be, I think it would just be terrible for the chess world to have a split between...
But that's exactly what I was referring to, right? The chess world more or less needs to fight for them. They don't have to fight for the chess world. They don't have to prove anything for the chess world. But that almost sounds a bit like a rant. It definitely is a rant. But let me say something good about Magnus too, which I really appreciate. And I think it got completely... nobody really heard about it, or like because of all the stories, nobody even mentioned that. When he had this first interview, he was talking about that he played badly, and he also said, but he didn't sleep bad. He felt great. He felt he wanted to play chess. He felt in a good mood. And that is amazing. And that was always Carlsen, and that will always be Carlsen. He's never, ever shy to tell his personal truth. And I love that so much. So many players in any sport I've ever heard would have said, like, I slept bad. I had like a tough week. Something bad happened here. But he's like, no, actually, I was in a good mood. I was ready. I wanted to win, and it just didn't go well. I think this is underestimated, or not underestimated, but this means a lot. And I love this, that he's doing that.
Yeah, that's great. He speaks his mind, and he is not shy. He's not shying away from conflict. But again, I can also understand people who say that Carlsen, by abandoning his world championship title as the best player in the world, that he in a way does the chess world a disservice, and that it would, it's damaging the chess world and the title of world champion. And there's a kind of moral obligation that as the world's best chess player, you should keep your title, and that you do not emphasize your personal preferences and your personal mood, but you say, I should play. Absolutely. But I don't think that's absolutely true. I think he has every right to say, well, I don't want to play.
Yeah, that happens.
But
surely
still,
enough.
I mean, having said that, I think I think the argument is valid that you have an obligation towards the chess world, even though I personally think that people have the liberty to say, I don't want to play, I don't want to study all these, I don't want to prepare anymore.
Yeah, I think this happens more often. And of course, the problem is like that this is, this makes you even so scarcity is one of the most expensive things in the world. If there's only one thing left for 14 hours, then you really have to decide if you get it or not. And because of this attitude, which some of those great chess players have, that they go like, listen, I don't need you. You need me. So either offer me something which I really enjoy or not. And then this is becoming more and more common. I think, I don't know if Elon Musk started it. It was there hundreds of years ago, obviously, but it seems like he made it a bit more public in the online world. And the idea that, well, look, I have enough of whatever you think about, but don't ask me. Yeah.
I think this is in a way is egotistical, and I think that it's very beneficial, or it's very good for chess that chess has a structure and that chess has a governing body like FIDE. Even though FIDE might, have suffer problems, there is corruption issues, everything.
They're trying their best, of course, yeah.
Even if I don't think they are trying their best, that doesn't matter. But I think there's a structure, and the structure is quite valid, and it's helpful. And especially in regard to the World Championship, I think that's a tradition that makes chess interesting. And people were following the World Championship match because there was this structure that two of the world's best players, maybe not the number 2 and the number 1, but they were fighting against each other and they were playing against each other. And this secures that chess gets attraction and chess is in the headlines. Well, I mean, of course, it's now the genes issue also made headlines. So, but still, I think structure is very important and it helps. And then, that in a way, I think I find people more impressive who say, well, we are part of a larger whole and I do not want to emphasize my own personal interests.
I personally also think that FIDE is trying their best, but that doesn't mean too much either, as you already said, because some people are trying it on their way, others on their way, and they all have like some different ideas about what to gain. And your noble idea of trying to do something for the chess world also collides with a lot of heads who are at FIDE, although everybody would obviously deny that, but it just feels like this since, we don't have to, we don't, it's clear that they're trying, but trying the best is also always, it's very, very, what's the word for this? It's an opinion from oneself of what that means. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I look forward to the Blitz tournament.
Yeah, somebody else as well here.
Let's see how Carlsen will fare. But again, something I think we should mention that which is also a bit
true.
Not disturbing but it's just like it's a bit unfortunate that everybody talks about the genes issue and
who won?
Who won the FIDE World? Who won the Rapid Championship? Who's the new?
I forgot his name already.
It's Volodar Murzin, an 18-year-old Russian.
Yeah.
And he's the second youngest Rapid World Champion ever.
Who was the youngest?
Nodiabek Abdusatorov. He is the youngest. He won the title at the age of 17.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think Murzin, this was a surprise, but he scored 10 out of 13 and he didn't lose a single game.
Yeah, very impressive.
And he played strong players. I mean, of course, he didn't play Carlsen, but he played Caruana. He won against Caruana. He won against Nakamura. He played against Duda. He almost lost against Pragnananda, but then, he was lucky and won. So I think, despite all the scandals and the speculation about a rift in the chess world, I think one should mention his name.
There's another name, Humpi Koneru, and she was almost forgotten because I was expecting her to play at the Olympiad in Budapest in the national team of the women's Indian team, but no. But instead, she actually, and I didn't even know that, and this is how sad it is that I know so little about the World Rapid. She apparently won it already, like 2 years ago, or am I wrong?
I'm not entirely sure, but I think, I think this is...
Maybe I'm saying something wrong. I don't know. But that she won was a super surprise to me. I know she's a great rapid player. That is no doubt. But she came out of nowhere. And that was like a big surprise to me. And
another triumph for India. So
yeah, this was champion. The most successful year for Indian chess. But this will be stuff for another episode, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry, we will have some.
We will talk about Indian chess. So now we covered a lot of topics.
Tons.
So we turn to your little quiz.
Yes. So what?
So I can.
You can give me the solution.
Show my knowledge.
So let me share the screen.
So if I'm not mistaken, this is a game which a guy called Clemens Alvermann played, a not particularly strong player, a German player, and he was very successful in an Open, if I remember correctly. And I don't know exactly what happened, but I think he played a strong move, and then his opponent, who was a grandmaster or strong player, resigned. And then Alvermann said, as a matter of factly, yes, of course, it's made an 8 or something like this.
Yeah, and it was Sergei Kalinichev.
You're right.
And Kalinichev was like scoffing and laughing about it. It's like, it made an 8. And he's like, yeah, check it out. Then he left with a grin, like, check it out.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that, of course, that people, I mean, every strong player would realize that white is winning, but no one would really see the mate in 8, and so people said that this is an indication that Alvermann was using a computer and engine, which in fact he did. And this was one of the most, one of the first and most public cases.
Absolutely, and it was Fritz 5.32.
He used Fritz 5.32.
Yeah, that was enough to get some prize money. And the story goes a bit further. I will we have the link in our Chess-Based News article, because there's a beautiful article from Frederick Friedel, who was a big part of this apparently, and he was asking Vichy and other strong grandmasters, do you see in mate in 8 here? And they all said, like, no. There is no mate in 8. And now I'm not even 100% sure if it's a mate in 8 or if it's a mate in 9, but we will also have the solutions in the article. I don't know it that well either. Yeah. But yeah, he was you said everything correct. You know your chess stuff very well. But now you're looking, is there something which I said wrongly, or?
No, but I think the move would be interesting. And I think, if I had white here, I would think about knight takes g4, because after rook takes g4, it's rook f. No, maybe I don't know.
I think it is a queen sacrifice. Let's give that as a hint, but you will see the solution in the article. Check out the article, please, because it's nice to also dive into the nostalgia. There's one last thing I wanted to mention. So what he was actually using was, he had long hair, and you see it on the photo as well.
Oh.
And he was using an earpiece in his long hair. And his normal strength was like, I think 2000 or 19 something.
Something, yeah.
And there's this super funny incident where in another position, he was playing against a 2140 player. And it seems that he didn't get the message like, bishop takes h7 or something, but he more or less got a Morse code. So he heard like beep, 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 beep. And what would beep, 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 beep be? It would probably be a3. and he probably got a message from whoever was giving him the Morse code that he should take the bishop on G7 or B7 or G2, but instead he took the wrong bishop and the game ended in a draw, which is also hilarious. So this is another indicator for the cheating.
Okay.
Crazy story, but it's worth checking it out if you don't know about it yet. Yeah.
But still, I have one question.
Please.
Did Alverman ever have to return his prize money or not?
We will find out in our next. I don't know. I don't think he ever got the prize money after all, right? Because they found out at the tournament.
Yeah, but maybe he got his. But again, I mean, it's just like, I think it took a while
to be sure.
To be sure, yeah. He was, that there were suspicions, but one could not prove anything.
As long as he wasn't wearing a jeans, I think we don't have to worry too much about everything.
Yeah, cheating while wearing a jeans, this is really...
Every arbiter would go mental about this. Don't do that.
Cheating is bad, wearing a jeans is bad, but...
Both together is... No, it's not tolerable. You cannot live with yourself like that anymore. That's possible. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this was our last show of Two Nights Talk in 2024. I'm very happy that so many people are watching us, and we would like to have more of your comments and your ideas, like in the first and second episode. So if you want to share something, if you want to say like, we are terrible, there's nothing more boring, go ahead. I would like to know. But if you also want to just contribute and give your own opinion about Magnus, about the dress code, about the FIDE, about whatever you want to talk about, even about Cleven's Alverman, we would very happily read those things and maybe even cover some of those comments in our next or future episodes. Okay. So
all that remains is have fun watching the Blitz World Championship with Magnus Carlsen, hopefully with Magnus Carlsen.
That's fingers crossed.
And you can just, keep an eye out for the different dresses and attires of the player and have a happy end of the year and a most happy 2025. See you next year.
Couldn't agree more. See you next year.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.